All right, you are live.
Let's see. Let's see how we work today. So I got a blue circle going on my screen. So I'm gonna. First of all, good evening. I hope you can. I hope you can hear me. Um, so I will share with you. We did a session earlier today at our noon session, and a lot of on the screen I'm looking at, a lot of the comments didn't come in. So Jamie is here with me, and then I have a special guest that you're going to meet a little later on in the hour. So if the um, image or the posts don't come through, Jamie's here looking at them through her phone. She'll read them to me, and we'll go from there. So I hope it works out. Um, this is our chat with the chief session, the evening session. We did, like I said, we were here together at noon today, and then this is our evening session and the session for February. So what I'd like to do, we'll do kind of the same format. Is I'll start out and kind of give you an overview of some of the things going on in the department. I'll talk a little bit about where the city is at its crime rate. I think it's important to share that with our citizens so that they get some feedback. Right? Sometimes people hear things and we thought there were this many shootings and this is the number of crime, and when we really break it down and look at it, we had no idea. So I think it's important that we get. It's important for me to be transparent and open about where the city is and what our crime rate is. We'll talk about some of the things that are going on here in our city, and we'll talk about some things that we've come through, and then some of our vision as we move forward in the future. And it looks like we got two posts. So Latoya, thank you for being here, and Miss Ireland, am I reading that right?
Yes.
And yes. So let's get this. I have been getting teased all week about getting a year older. So yep. So just being transparent, I did have a birthday this week, and several people around here reminded me that I was 50 years old, or half a century now, I guess, right? So they made it very clear to me, so I get it. But I will have to say I was a little overwhelmed. I'm not sure how it got in the social media world, but there were a couple. There were a couple posts wishing me happy birthday, and I was very humbled, and thank you. I'm very blessed to be in this city and work with great men and women here. It is a true blessing. So, John, thanks for being here tonight. Miss White, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So let me start. Oh, now we're starting to pop up. Good. So, hey, happy 50th birthday, miss you here. Oh, Stephanie, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hope you guys are being safe up there. You're just about an hour up the road. So keep Richmond safe, right? So where I want to start out, Robin, good to see you. Thank you. So where I want to start out is just giving you a quick brief on where the city is where the city is in crime today. We ended the year in 2020 with a 14% reduction in crime. It's a dedication of the men and women who work here, our citizens, people taking back their neighborhoods, willing to work with the police, share information, not tolerating individuals doing criminal activity, looking out for our neighbors and everything. That's important. So the city ended with a crime reduction of 14% last year compared to the year before. So if we look back the last 3 years, in 2018 we had a 5% reduction in crime, right? In 2019 we dropped to a 9.5% reduction in crime. Last year we were at 14% reduction in crime. Today, just today, right? At the same time last year, so February, January 1 through February 25th, 2021, compared to that same time frame, January 1 to February 25th, 2020, today we have a 25% reduction in crime. The disclaimer is I know that each one of those incidents, each one of those crime statistics is an individual, a person, a community, a neighborhood, and I don't take it lightly. But I do look at the evidence-based and the data-driven to drive us, and it allows me to look at our strategies and initiatives. So if we had an increase in crime and we're doing A, B, and C, and I tweak that and do, X, Y, and Z, and crime starts to change, I need to be able to adapt, right? And hey, some things that are working in this area of the city or in this particular precinct might work in the other. So that's why if you can't measure things, it becomes very, very hard to manage. So at the end of the year, if the mayor said, well, why did we have a 14% reduction in crime? If I don't have the initiatives to back up and show that this is what we did to reduce that or achieve that, those things can become very, very difficult. So I think it is important to look at things, remember what they represent, but it does give us the same thing. We look at traffic data, we look at our number of overdoses, or our traffic stops up, or our traffic stops down, are our complaints up, or our complaints down? Are we spending more overtime than last year, or is it down? Those type of things. What is our manpower like in the department? Are we seeing more and more officers apply, or are we losing? So those are the reasons we look at some of those strategies. But again, today, this compared to the same time last year, crime is down in the city of Newport News by 25%. Amber, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're here. Alfred, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Cindy, can I beg you to allocate a few more dollars to the Joanna Britchie case, please? It's been 30 years now. Her family's still out wondering who killed her. So that was a homicide that happened back in January of 1988. I'll tell you, it's not a dollar amount, Cindy. It's individuals coming forward, evidence. I will tell you this. I'll be glad to look into that and see. We do. When I got here, we had a hard look. I sat down with Chief Randall and we really restructured our major crimes division. I thought we had a lot of heavy caseload on the number of detectives we have there. We now have a homicide unit. We have an aggravated assault unit. That's all our shootings, our stabbings, our shootings, our stabbings, our aggravated assault, threat to maim, kill, or disfigure. And we have a special victims unit that deals with our missing person, our juveniles, and our elderly. So we have a dedicated group that focus on homicides. But in that division, we also have 2 detectives that focus on cold cases. So I'll be able to take a look at it, that homicide back in 1988. Lawrence, appreciate you being here, my friend. Thank you for the wish. Melanie, thank you very much. Good to have you here. Faith, happy birthday, Chief Drew. Well, welcome to the 50s Club. There you go. That's right. I'll be looking for my cards in the mail now, right? Keith, my friend, glad to have you on board, buddy. Thank you for being here. So a couple good things, some positive things happening right now in our city. Wait, did I miss somebody?
Yeah, Jacob.
They're
coming in quick.
Yep. That's all right. We'll take our time and go through them. You know what I should have said before we start? There are some some software upgrades. So I think is it right at 7?
Right at 7.
Right at 7, we're going to lose access. So around 6:55, I'm going to kind of shut down. So Jamie, if you remind me, I do want to make an introduction today. Jacob, where's the highest crime area in the city of Newport News? Jacob, it's a hard question to ask because there's different crime areas. If you ask about the violent crime, we see some of that spread out. I mean, it's even funny. We look at overdoses in our city. Sometimes we can look at crime, we look at our traffic accidents, we look at our overdoses. So our crime is really dispersed. It would be very easy if I had it in one spot, right? And I could isolate it and put things on the outside to stop individuals coming in and preying on that community and then deal with the problems in that community. But our crime is very spread out. And that's a great question because it's one of the questions we ask when we have burglaries. I will ask, how many burglaries do we have in the North Precinct for the week? Are any of them connected? And we'll look at ways that people break in or the items that are taken. So if people are crawling through a back window and we're still in PlayStation games or Xbox games or game systems, they might have to think more towards youth. Individuals stealing electronics might be a little bit older. So it's a great question, but it's really not isolated. So that would be very, very hard to say. And then are we talking property crime or are we talking violent crime? But Newport News is very linear, right? So we have 3 precincts, north, central, and south, and it's really spread out. So it's really hard to say that this one area. I will tell you, though, Jacob, we do each precinct selects one neighborhood that we focus on all year long. That means the resources that I have, not only in the city, not only in the precinct and the department, outside resources as well. So let's pick a particular area in the North Precinct that we're focusing on is the Beachmont area. So I'm putting narcotics influence there. I'm putting canine influence there, community youth and outreach. We're interacting with our youth and our kids in that area. I'm asking codes and inspections to make sure that things are up to par in that neighborhood. I'm asking lighting be increased in that area, environmental design, that we cut back bushes that might be over and trees that are over showing lights and those type of things. So we put a lot of different resources in 3 different neighborhoods in our city all year long, but we will follow crime trends and patterns where they go, where they lead us. So that's a great question, Jacob. Rick, now that No, I know I can't do that real good, Rick. It comes in patchy, so I don't even mess with it. Anthony, it's good to see you, Rick. It's good to have you on board, buddy. Uh, I've been looking to join law enforcement. I've been researching in many states. I really appreciate the work you've been doing in Newport News. Could you please give me the information on how I can join your team? Uh, Anthony, Mr. Johnson, I'll tell you, we will do a reply. I'm going to send you the number to our recruiting division. If you just ask to speak to any individual there, I will tell you. We run 3 academies a year. And actually, Mr. Johnson, that's one thing I was going to talk about. We have a class of 16 recruits that will graduate on March the 25th. There is another class that just started in mid February, and they will do 6 or 7 months. And we are now recruiting for the class that will take part in. That will start in May, and then we'll run another class by the end of the year. So the class that's graduating started last year. Then we'll do 3 academies this year. So I will tell you, we are hiring. We have a great group. Captain Bradley and his team do a fantastic job. It's a very streamlined process. It moves very fast. What I don't want is people out there waiting. Hey, we'll let you know in a month, or we'll let you hear something. We do have the ability to pre-hire. So we may bring someone in 5 or 6 weeks before the academy starts, let them get used to the department, and allow them to work in some different divisions before the academy actually starts. But Mr. Johnson, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to get some information from you. If you want to post your contact number, we'll be glad to call you, or we will send a reply and get you some information if you want to call. But man, if you let me know, I'll follow up with it. I'd love to have you. I think as we move forward in law enforcement, as always, but even now, should be a big push to bring people in with the right heart, right? The humanity side, empathy, caring about individuals. That's what I'm looking for. People that are open to change and really focus, solve problems, work with citizens and our residents. So that's what I'm trying to bring into this department. I run the department like a family. We certainly disagree at times, but I'm very blessed and very humbled to work for the citizens in this community, in this great city, and the great men and women that I work for. They deserve all the credit for the great things that are going on in this department. We certainly make our mistakes, there's no doubt. But I'm going to be open and transparent about that. It's okay to say when we get it wrong or when we make a mistake. And I said earlier today, I think that's where the leadership piece comes in, is what do we do after a mistake's been made? Do we no comment? 1985, right, no comment? Or is it, we made a mistake, we got this wrong, here's what happened, here's what we're doing to address it, here's what we're going to do to try to fix it. And I want to make it's okay to say we're sorry, to apologize, and try to put some things in place, or even add training to reduce the opportunity for something like that to happen again. I can never promise, I don't know that any chief that could ever promise that, hey, we'll never make that mistake, or this will never, but we can do our best to address it once it does, and put things in place to try to reduce it. So I'd love to talk with you. I'd love to have you on board, and hopefully we'll get to talk soon and we'll get some information exchanged. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Marcia, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. Would love to talk to you offline about an initiative. How do I do this? You know what? I will send you a reply back. We'll give you a number. My assistant Donna is out right now, but Brittany can take the information from you. We'll get you her desk number to kind of share what it's about. She'll write up a little note, and we'll make a phone call. And Sandra, me and you will say, I'm sorry, Miss White, me and you will have a conversation. Okay? But yeah, it sounds great. I'd love to. I'm always, some things we can do, some things we can't. But I think it's always good. Maybe we can talk about some things and meet in the middle. But I'm always looking for new initiatives, new ideas. I think for a long time, sometimes we get stuck. I certainly know in my career and the years that I've had coming through that, nope, we can only do it this way. This way we've always done it, right? It's 1985. We're not going to change. But I think we have to evolve. So I'm always open to new ideas. And I think the more we communicate and work together, we come up with some really great things. So I'd love to do that. So we got, did I leave all? Miss Downey. Please tell Chief Grinstead that I said hello. He was my school uniform officer when I was in high school. Denby High School. Tell him I'm now a grandma. That should make him feel old. Well, let me tell you, you just made my day, because he has been on me and teasing me all week. So we are going to highlight that. I'm going to print that out like 16 font. And I will be seeing him first thing. Matter of fact, we're going to go to an elementary school in the morning. You know what? The best part of my day tomorrow is me and Chief Grinstead, a very good friend of mine, is a good buddy here. We are going to go to Jenkins Elementary and say hello to elementary kids coming to school. Peace and quiet, right? We're going to spend some time and just see the kids getting off the bus and being dropped off and just talk to them. We'll do the COVID thing and be safe, but I am really, really looking forward to seeing the kids. They had a presentation last night for Black History Month, and the kids at Jenkins, man, they just put on a great program. The principal there, Miss Stewart Kelly, is phenomenal. Their program, the production was just amazing, and I just had a blast. And so the kids became the teachers last night. It was really, really something. And Councilman Harris was on the meeting with us as well. It was all virtual, but it was just done so well, right? And in our youth, that's our future. And so anyway, not to get sidetracked, but me and Chief Grinstead are going to go there tomorrow. I asked him to go with me. We're just going to see the youth there at Jenkins Elementary and go by and see them. So I am really, really excited. But they had a great program last night. It was really great. And Miss Stewart is just a phenomenal principal. Great things going on there. But I will tell him. I'll soup it up a little bit, but then I'll tell him. And am I reading that right? You're calling him a grandpa. I like that. I'll make sure he sees that.
She said that she's a
No.
grandma.
For me, I'm going to tell him he said he'd be a great grandpa. I love it.
So that was me responding to Anthony.
Oh, perfect. Great. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Angela, thank you. I appreciate that. John, was good. I got to go home and see my family a little bit in Ohio. They had about 12 inches of snow. My mom and dad out there shoveling snow. I made sure they did the right. I watched them supervise. Man, they still got it. They made me do it when I was a kid. So no, I'm just playing. But yeah, it was cold, and they had about 12 or 13 inches of snow, and it was still coming down. But it was good to see them, and they're doing well. Some people would ask about my mother. She's doing really well now. I appreciate that. Appreciate your prayers.
Do you see who that's from?
Mr. Pennington, it was good to see you today. So you're saying I'm at the top of the hill and now I'm rolling down? Is that what you're saying? It's all downhill from here? No, I'm very, very blessed, and thank you. Miss White retired from law enforcement. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so yeah, we'll have some things to talk about. It'll be great. I look forward to the conversation. I really appreciate that. That'd be great. I'm about to submit my application. I'm coming from Florida due to my fiance being relocated in Fort Eustis. It's a great place, by the way. Fort Eustis does some amazing work. They're good partners with us. It's a great place. I'm very lucky to be there. I would like to do a ride-along and see how your department works on the road. I'm coming out of a very family-oriented sheriff's office that I do several ride-alongs as well as work with the crime lab, the crime investigations division. Well, I will tell you, again, I'm going to give you the same number as we did Mr. Johnson. I will tell you that we are hiring. We're hiring dispatchers, we're hiring forensic technicians, and we're also hiring police officers. We run 3 academies a year. So we have a class graduating of 16 in about 3 weeks. We have 24 that just started in mid-February, and we are now starting to hire for the class in May. So, but I will tell you this, do your research, right? As you move up here into Fort Eustis, and first of all, thank you for your service and your husband's service. But as you move up here, look around, right? I believe wholeheartedly that we have a lot to offer in this department. This is a great community. It's a great city. We have a lot of officers that come here. We're only about 2 or 3 officers down right now. So when we hire the academy in May, we'll be looking at projecting out what our vacancies are. The city gives us the ability to overhire with individuals that are serving our country on military leave. So we're able to do some things. But I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. We'll send you the same information, but I would love to talk to you and love for you to take a look at our department. We do ride-alongs. We'll probably start those back up again in April, sort of when we're looking at as soon as some restrictions are lifted a little bit. You may not want to do the whole 10-hour shift, but love for you to come look at the department and talk to as many people and look at us online, some of the things that we do. Jamie does a great job managing our social media accounts. We have a lot out there. It'd be great. And I didn't see, did it say when you're coming? Relocated for Eustis. Yeah, so when you get up here, or shoot us a call, and we'll just have some conversation, and we'll go from there. But I look forward to you coming to Newport News, and I hope you choose us. We'd love to have you. Downey, Miss Downey, thank you. Miss Powers, how are you? It's funny that you asked that.
Not one, but two.
People have listen. Did you have any doubt that I didn't? I mean, and look, because it's been a long day today, just in case, all right? So I appreciate you, Miss Powers, pointing it out to everybody out there in social media land. But no, tell your father I said hello, and appreciate his service and everything that he's doing. And yeah, absolutely. So it's good to have you on board. Nancy, my cousin, your friend Brian Cummings, just had his 55th birthday in heaven. I'm sure he did, Nancy. I will tell you, Brian Cummings was a friend of mine. I really enjoyed working with him in Richmond. He had a heart for people. He was a very hard worker. One of the things I loved about Brian is just being able to go into his office. I'd go down there and hide out sometimes, right? When the chief was mad at me, I would go down to his office and we would just talk about family and things. He was a great guy, and I miss him. He was a good man, and yeah, 55 years old. So happy birthday to you, my friend Brian. Brian Cummings, a great guy. Hit the crest, Pennington says, hit the crest. Aren't you supposed to be working, Pennington? Jennifer, I'm beyond grateful for all the hard work. So much crime happening around South Morrison, and constantly worrying, but I'm always send your minnow in blue.
She sent a correction below. It's supposed to say, I always see your men.
Yeah, Jennifer, it's funny you brought that up. It's good that you're very, very observant. I will tell you, Tricia and Dresden Lane, that area of South Morrison was one of our focus points for the year last year. So we sorted to be in a maintenance phase there, but there are some things there that concern me. And what you just reported is one of them. We had a strong conversation today, as well as Monday, that we're going to be doing some things in that area. I don't want it to slip back into some things that were going on there last year. And that is an area that I think we need to keep our pressure on. I will say there are very good people who live in that community, in that neighborhood. There are some issues there with people coming from outside and interacting or preying on that location. So Jennifer, I will give you my word that you're going to see us there. That is a focus point for me and a concern, one of the areas that I'm very concerned about in our city. When I say I'm concerned about, that's an area that I'm committing extra resources to. So just hang in there with me. But I would ask, I'm not asking you to come testify in court. What I am asking, if you see something, to say something, to call us and just, hey, I'm a concerned citizen and this is what I saw, or this is what I heard, or I think this might be going on. I'd rather for officers to come to check it out and it be nothing than to not call and something happened and then we're out there at 2 a.m. with crime scene tape. So you're very observant, Jennifer. That's a great call, and you have my commitment to that neighborhood. Miss Williams, Jamie, what? Wait. Now, see, I don't know if Jamie types that herself just so I sees it or if that's actually coming from somebody. Jamie is the best, so I would agree. I don't tell her that a lot, but she is. She does phenomenal work, the stuff that she does here, and highlighting the department, and talking about what we're doing, talking about our hot topics. I give her a hard time about the when the videos don't work or the little blue light on the camera doesn't come on, or but she fires back at me, right? She even does the lighting here, and she dims the light because she said sometimes there's a little bit too much shine, right? So I'll take it. It's okay. I take it. But she's very good at working the light switch and dimming the lights, right, to make me look better. But thank you, Ms. Williams, for pointing it out. But she's great. Kathleen, thank you. I appreciate that. Looking forward to speaking with you, Chief. Sorry, service isn't so great at the moment. Anthony, are we coming through okay, Jamie, or is it okay? No, Anthony, no problem. Listen, let's get in touch and let's talk. I'd love to talk to you, Mr. Johnson. Anybody that shows interest, man, I want to spend some time with and make sure that at least our background team and there is a whole team down there that works. That's the reason we streamline our process, I think, very well. There are several departments across the country who have reached out to Captain Bradley and asked, how do you recruit like that? How are you able to staff your department so well? We were just having a conversation with Chief Grinstead. Somebody referred to him, I think, as Grandpa earlier. I don't know, I have to go back and read that. But we had a great conversation, and we had a hard conversation about staffing and allocation of resources. So we have 16 recruits in the academy that are getting ready to graduate, another 24 that just started. That's 40 people, right? So those are positions that we have, but it's going to take us a while to get those 24 trained, right? So they're going to do about 7 months in the academy. We keep adding some different classes there, but it's going to take us a while to get them out. So once that happens, those positions will be absorbed. But the background guys, Captain Bradley, Lieutenant Punyak, they do an amazing job. It's a very well-oiled machine there that make things happen.
There's a couple comments that have not come through again.
Okay.
Miss Jennifer sent another one that said, it's super concerning. I don't allow my children to play outside
Yep.
here, unfortunately. I am part of the good people here, and
Yep.
I thank you for knowing we need more work here.
Yep. No, Jennifer, you're absolutely right. There's probably 3 or 4 neighborhoods right now that we have a hard focus on, and then there's some that we've had some maintenance phase on. We've done a lot of stuff in Cottage Grove. We've done a lot of stuff in Courthouse Green. I think we've got some things under control there, but we kind of have in a maintenance phase. Areas up in Beachmont that we're still focusing on, Trish and Dresden Lane. Marshall Courts is an area that I want to continue to focus on. Things have gotten really well there. Things are doing much better. We have a C&I grant that we won. The city manager and a team around her put a proposal together, and the government dumped some money for us to revitalize the neighborhood there. I'm really excited, but I want to make sure that we're part of that, right? That we play an integral part. Aqueduct apartment complex, that's another area that I want to make sure that we focus on. So no, you're absolutely right, and I feel you, I hear you, and I clearly understand, and I'll pass that on well to the precinct captain, Captain Smith in the central precinct, Lieutenant Hauser, and the group that they have working there do a really good job, and we had this same conversation last night.
Miss Brumfield says, hey, Chief. Michael says, keep up the good
Wait,
work.
Miss Brumfield just said, "Hey, Chief."
She just said, hey, Chief.
Miss Brumfield, it's good to hear from you.
Hey, Chief.
Hope all is well.
Michael says, keep up the good work, Chief. You really don't come across as a man in charge, and you have a great personality. You're only as old as you feel. Remember that, buddy.
What?
That's what I
Wait.
say.
What do you mean? What do you mean I don't come across as in charge? What are you saying? What are you saying? No, I appreciate that. Look, I think you have to enjoy what you do. And look, it's long hours, and this job is challenging. And for individuals that come on and join this profession, I don't sugarcoat it. You're gonna miss things, right? It's very, very demanding. There's times that you have to stay over and work late. If you get a late call or a late arrest, if you're called back and you have a specialty, you're going to miss birthdays. We don't just work Monday through Friday 9 to 5. You're going to miss things on the weekend, ball games, stuff at night. People that work midnight shift and your kids are in school during the day. It's tough. You have young ones. It's tough. But I also say this: it is very, very rewarding. The time that we can invest in other people is huge, and it matters. And it's never going to be the number of arrests we make, the guns we seize, or the tickets we write. It's going to be the lives we impact, right? That we have the ability to make people who are going through crisis, when they dial those 3 digits, right, 911, that we're the ones that are going to respond first. We're the first ones you're going to see. And it is extremely rewarding, but it's also very, very demanding. And while we're there, I guess let me say this. For the spouses, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles that allow your family members to work with this police department or any other law enforcement agency, whether it's police, sheriff, whatever it is, state, local, or federal. I appreciate you as well. Men and women who do this job, they see things, they respond to things. We're human. It does affect us. We can put it in the back of our mind, and I talk about 1985 a lot, right? So in 1985, we didn't talk about those things. You might be considered weak if you let some of the things that we see and respond to bother us. But I want to create an environment here that's okay, right? That we're human. It should affect us. It should bother us. We have a department psychologist that we partner with. We have individuals that are trained in crisis management and critical incident training that we make sure that have some of that training. And I think it's important that we as supervision know our people and look out for them. We see some behavior issues, but we're human. We don't get it right all the time. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to get frustrated just like everyone else. I can remember my mom getting mad at me because I would copy my spelling words down wrong, and she would get frustrated, right? But she would still put the time in to help me on my spelling test, right? And that I always remember that. We joke about it, but I can tell you, when I was 9 and 10 years old, it wasn't no joke. When I'm writing the sentences and she's like, you're even copying it down off the blackboard wrong. she would get frustrated, right? So those still things happen, right? Officers have, look, they have family issues, husbands, wife, kids, right? And right now with things that are going on with this pandemic that we're going through, all of us going through together, and people being out of work, not sure the next paycheck, or living paycheck to paycheck, or making cutbacks. Our kids going to be in school. How's my family? I would say most of us know somebody who's been affected by COVID, or know someone, I wish it wasn't true, but know someone that may have struggled with the illness, or even unfortunately lost their life. So there's a lot of things that affect that. But here's what's remarkable. That people still come to this department and apply. They still want to work here. That there's 16 individuals that are going to graduate and go serve this community. There's another 24 right behind them, and we're now starting to look at hiring for the class that will be in May. And I think that is heroic. That's heroic. Did I miss any other comments?
Yep.
Okay.
Anthony Johnson says, I'll send you an email or give you a call tomorrow if that works
Great.
for you.
Perfect. I'll make time for you, Anthony.
Miss Albion says, thank you for all you do. The commitment of the NNPD to healthy communities is fantastic.
Miss Albion, that'll be Miss Albion Lyons.
Yes.
Yep. Well, Miss Lyons, thank you. I don't know what kind of code you're using there to hide your messages coming through on my screen. That's why I got Jamie here to catch everything that I miss. But no, Miss Lyons does she works with us a lot. She does a lot of facilitation for us. She's helped us with leadership in development. Matter of fact, she's going to do something really special for us coming up on March the 3rd. The police department here, we have a young adult police commissioner program, and it is a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior from every high school. So the 6 high schools that we have in our city, we have representation from each one. And I'm not just talking kids that are A scholar students, right? That's not it at all. It's individuals that officers come in contact with, school resource officers, kids that are recommended, youth that are recommended by their principal or some staff. We work with them for about 3 or 4 hours every Wednesday, and that is one of the best events that we do. So we're going to take the young adult police commissioners, high school students in our city, right? Our youth, our future, this city's future, and we're going to put them in a room at a secret location, right? Holiday Inn, secret location, and we're going to take those 16 recruits that are going to graduate, who are just a few years older than some of those high school students. And Miss Lyons is going to generate conversation, real conversation, right? What do our youth expect from law enforcement? How do they look at law enforcement? And what does law enforcement expect from the youth? How are they perceived, right? How do we see each other? How do we talk to each other? And when you talk about reimagining police work, reimagining law enforcement, those 16 new recruits, that is the future of law enforcement, right? How do we do those things? How do we work those things? So I'm really looking forward to that. But she's done some leadership for us as well, the executive staff. And I'll say this, I think it's important in law enforcement. When I was coming through, I remember being at the academy, the instructors would come in, they'd have a police uniform on or a badge around their neck, and we would learn and go through the presentation. But everyone they're teaching was law enforcement, right? I think it's important to bring outside influence in. The Unity Project, we've worked a lot with our local pastors that talk to us. And look, they donate their time. They give their time to work with us. Pastor Swan and others have just done a phenomenal job. And he reaches out to me, and it sometimes, I hope he's okay with me sharing this, but sometimes he just reaches out, hey, are you okay? Pastor Rothwell as well, just reach out and hey, are you doing okay? We're thinking of you. We're praying for the department. And that's appreciative. And the men and women of this organization, I share that with them. One of the most critical things that we went through when we lost Officer Thine in the line of duty, the first phone call I got was from Pastor Swan. And I'll never forget that. So all those things. So Ms. Lyons, I appreciate you being on tonight and appreciate everything you do for us and are going to do. I know I'm running up quite the tab on favors, but I appreciate you. I'm sure we're keeping track of that somewhere. I think Melissa has, and maybe we lost it. Maybe we'll find a file next week. But I'm glad you're on board.
She also wishes you a happy 50th birthday.
And thank you for my, for the big birthday wish. Thank you very much. Did I miss any others, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay.
Krista Downey says, Aqueduct has been rough since I was younger.
Yeah, Aqueduct is a location that we focused on last year and again this year. I'm not satisfied with where we're at yet. And again, very good people living in that community. I've been up there a couple times, done some walks. I'll tell you, one of the coolest places in Aqueduct is the playground. And I get hung up there and interacting with some kids and youth, and we've done a couple walks, and I always find myself back there at the playground, and whether we're throwing a football with kids in the community, or they come out and talk to me about how the right way to go down the slide is and all the things they can do. I'll tell you, some of the physical feats they can do, I can't imagine ever being able to do that. But you're absolutely right, and I clearly hear you.
Angela Young says, what can I do about my neighborhood? Because every night when I walk my dogs, we almost get hit by people speeding up and down our streets.
Well, I'm not sure what neighborhood you're at. I will say this: if you call us or text us or just Facebook us and tell us, what I would ask is time frames. And you said you walk your dog at night, so I'm assuming it's in the evening. We do have a traffic division. We have officers we can dedicate to do some traffic enforcement. But we also are in the process of purchasing some speed trailers. We'll have 3. So you remember, like when you're on the interstate, right, and say, I'm at work, and you'll go through there and it'll flash like 55, and people are driving 65, 70, 80 miles an hour, and like, whoa, and you see everybody slow down. So that's kind of the concept, but we're going to purchase 3 of them with the city, and we'll be able to strategically place them in locations, and we can put them in place for a week, pick them up and move them, and for 2 reasons: one, awareness, to slow down; one, to show people what they're actually doing. And then here's a hint to the community: where you see a speed trailer, there's probably a police officer pretty close around. So please slow down, and especially with kids getting ready to go back to school, getting on buses and transportation and stuff like that, being out and about, please be careful. So if you'll let us know the neighborhood and the time frame, we can certainly put some efforts there. So that's a great point. Thank you.
Robin Bannister says, I had the honor of giving each of the Newport News police officers a hug and one of my ribbons that I make
Wow.
for law enforcement when you were here for Police Officer Katie Fine's service in New Hampshire. Thank you all for your service. You are
Wow.
appreciated. Please stay safe.
So, wow, thank you. Yep, I remember that. You guys were very welcoming. It's a beautiful community there. I will say this: it's a lot colder there in New Hampshire right now than it is here in Newport News, no doubt. But thank you very much. That goes a long way. I appreciate that.
Jennifer is making another comment. She says, I think what he means, meaning referring to Michael, I think what he means is that you are truly a leader instead of a boss. I've watched you for so long on videos, and you have a heart of gold, and the department is lucky to have you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I think at the end of the day, that we all just look. We're all going through this together, and for me, it is trying to bring in the best officers that we can, and we cultivate individuals coming to this organization that want to make things better and think outside the box, that get involved in our community, want to solve problems, and partner with each other, and realizing that we're all human and we all make mistakes. We all deserve second chances. Now there are bad things that happen out there. There are people that want to take advantage of others, and I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to sit back and be reactive, right? I want to get out ahead of things, because I have been in those crime scenes at 2, 3 in the morning, and individuals show up because someone has been hurt, right? But I also think how we talk to people and how we treat people is critical. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we did this week, Kelly King and her team, along with Lieutenant Harrison, the academy staff, I wanted a whole week dedicated, right? A whole week dedicated to how we talk to citizens in our community. I believe we should have time. Now, we don't get any DCJS time accredited for that, right? But I believe it's critical of what we do. And I will bet you, with the partnership that we have, myself and Lieutenant Morgan, several officers are on a committee of about 35 that talk about those things. What should policing look like in the future? I will bet you that there will be some mandate before the end of the year. But it is very valuable, and it is important. Being able to qualify and drive in pursuits, make sure we're doing report writing correctly. Our scores on tests, all those things are important, but there's nothing more important than how we interact with our citizens, how we talk to each other, and how we treat each other.
Miss White says, thank you. My husband and I are both retired law enforcement, and he is also a veteran. We thank all of you and NNPD for the hard work you are doing to keep the community safe.
Wow, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It means a lot. And thank you for both your service. I'm not sure where you were at, where you worked, or the time you put in, but I'll tell you, it is a great, rewarding field. and you get out of it what you put into it. So thank you very much, both of your service.
Miss Ireland says, "Thank you, Chief Drew. I hope you remember my daughter Ivy from Texas."
Yes.
She
Yes.
says, "We went to court recently. We return in May. He admitted what he did.
Yep.
We will be returning to Tech Center soon."
So if I'm not mistaken, we just did an annual report, and there are some photographs on the cover of that annual report. And Ivy, from me to you, I think one of the best pictures is you and I just going on a walk together and having a conversation. So when that annual report comes out, it'll be posted. It's about a 45-page document, and it just talks about what we've done in police work last year. And there's some pictures on the front, and you might recognize one of them. But it's great news. I know that you and I talked a lot online and offline. I know that we've walked in the neighborhoods together and had conversations, and I remember what happened in Tech Center. I told you it would take us a while, but we would find that individual, and I'm glad it got the result that at least that's not going to be tolerated. So I hope you all are doing well, and it's always good to hear from you. I appreciate you. Did I miss too many more, Jamie?
A few more birthday wishes coming in, and a couple people just saying hello.
So I want to take just a few minutes. I'm going to hit a couple things here, and then I want to make an introduction to you. Talked about our graduation. We talked about young adult police commissioners in our new recruit class. School has started back in, so we'll be seeing some of the SROs go back in. It'll be kind of a hybrid thing. I can't do the full commitment right now. There will be officers in schools that will be spending time there. Lieutenant Morgan putting a schedule together. This is Black History Month. I want to take a few minutes and talk to you about an individual that I never met, but I've read about him. Chief George Austin. He joined this department in 1947. He just a few years after World War II. He was the first African-American lieutenant in the Newport News Police Department. When he joined the department, there were only 3 African-Americans, and they did walking beats. And they were only allowed to walk in certain areas of the city because the city's certain parts were still segregated. But he worked his way up. He was the first African-American to be a lieutenant in this department, and became the chief in 1975. And he retired here in 1983. Like I said, I never met him. I have done a lot of reading about him, some old articles. There was a few officers here that still worked when he was the chief. Chief Grinstead is one of them. He had a very special relationship with Chief Austin. Chief Austin hired him, and they stayed close throughout the years. And he was very close with him. Chief Grinstead was very close with Chief Austin and his wife. He visited them when they got sick in the hospital, and they had a very, very special relationship. And people in the community that knew Chief Austin speak very highly of him. They talk about he was community oriented. He cared about this community and the citizens here, and certainly a mentor. Even though he's not here with us, he's certainly a mentor to me in how he treated people and how he ran an organization. So if anyone sees this that is related to Chief Austin, his family, I would just like to tell you that you are not forgotten, and you're very appreciated. Your picture hangs outside my office, and when I come in, I see it every day. But he was the chief here from 1975 to 1983, and he had a huge impact on this organization. He had a lot of challenges and obstacles. So I just wanted to highlight him and just give a shout out to his family. So one of the anything I missed?
There's a couple, but it's about 6:45.
All right, so real quickly, I want to introduce you to someone. When I came here, one of the things I wanted to do, there was a segment of our population that I have a hard time communicating with. And I think some of it is maybe where they're from or just their feelings about law enforcement. But our Hispanic population continues to grow, and I cannot communicate with them as well as I would like to. We started about 2 years ago changing some requirements on our academy that 10% of the recruits that came in had to come in speaking Spanish. Now that means that our recruitment department had to really push hard to go find those individuals, right? So hypothetically, we have 24 recruits that just joined. 10% mean 2.5 or 3 need to speak Spanish. I went and talked to them this week and met with them, and I asked how many here speak Spanish. And there were about 6 or 7 hands went up, and that's what I'm talking about. Nothing against Rosetta Stone. right? But I'm looking for individuals who come in here and can already communicate with our citizens. But also still, they run radio calls, but I want to make a commitment to the Hispanic community. So I'm going to ask Senorita Franco to come over and sit beside me for a second. Senorita, Miss Franco, right?
Better, sir.
I'm working on it. It rolled right off my tongue. I'm working on it. I introduced her the other night in a Zoom meeting to some of the Hispanic
Hi.
community here in our city. So she's going to be doing a lot of things. We moved her. She joined the police department. She went through the academy, graduated, and was doing field training, and there were some issues with communication. She wasn't quite sure. She wanted to work on that a little bit. She is from Ecuador. She did spend time in the United States military. She did 8 years in the Navy. So we had her in record. She interacted with the citizens. And I believe that we could do some more with her talent. So I spent some time with her. We talked. And she's been transferred to Captain Tegens and Lieutenant Morgan in Community Youth and Outreach. And she is going to partner with us and help us bridge the gap with the Hispanic community. So I'm going to ask her to just say hello. She's going to speak to you in English tonight. She's going to right. She's going to speak to you in English. She'll probably tell you some of the things, but I'm really, really excited to have her on board. So, Ms. Franco, if you would just say hello to the individuals that are watching us, but she's going to be a tremendous asset to this department.
Oh, hi, how you doing? My name is Serena Franco, and I'm from Ecuador, Guayaquil, Ecuador, the city, South America. And I came here when I was 12 years old. Joined the military for 8 years, and then I went to the police academy, and now I'm working on this new project that Chief has. We hope that you guys like it and open your arms to it too.
So she'll be doing a lot of the community events. I really want her to work with the Boys and Girls Club, with the youth in our city. I want her to do community walks. But we're getting her all set up with an office with Lieutenant Melissa Morgan, Lieutenant Morgan, the Community Youth and Outreach. And I just think it's going to be a tremendous benefit. I hope that you see it as going to be a commitment that as we move forward, right? That we have civilians here helping us with domestic violence. So we have civilians that we're getting ready to hire as second responders to help us with the human services side of things and connections. That we have civilians that are going to work in our CARES unit, where we're going to be partnering with the fire department and physicians, clinicians, right, that help us with individuals with mental illness, and now civilians that are helping us bridge the gap with the Hispanic community. And I could not be more excited. So I just want to say thank you for the time that you're taking on this venture. We're going to give it a shot, and I think it's going to really pay off. So I know we're getting short on time. Jamie, is there anything else that I missed that I need to hit before the screen just goes zap? I'm not sure what's going to happen at 7 o'clock. If it's just going to go zip.
Off.
Deborah says, I am wondering what to do because we have a child about 7 years old who just runs around our neighborhood alone. I
Wow.
told him he couldn't hang out at my house because I can't be responsible for him.
Wow.
I really don't feel approaching his parents as I don't know them.
Yep. So if you're concerned about safety and just welfare, if you'll let us know, we can have an officer respond. Just kind of do some home checks, make sure that everything's okay at home, that the child is taken care of. We have a great relationship with Human Services in our city. They do phenomenal work. It's a great, strong partnership that we have with them. So if you just call and let us know kind of when, where, we can just kind of do a welfare check just to make sure everything's okay. So if he's 6 or 7 years old, be starting back to school. Pretty sure I think that started back this week for the elementary kids, right? And then as we move forward, middle and high school later this month. So you should give us a call. We can check into that.
Glad you are getting the officers back in school. That's from Karen.
Great. Yeah, I think it's going to be, and believe me, Karen, they're glad to be back too. They've been itching, I know, and Lieutenant Morgan's glad to have them back. So everybody's in agreement there, no doubt.
Deborah asked, when you were introducing Miss Franco, Deborah asked, what about sign language?
Yeah, so I will tell you, one thing I can tell you, Miss Franco speaks about 3 or 4 different languages. As we learned, I didn't know that she could speak Italian as well.
I understand Italian.
But she gets it.
I'm learning sign language on my own, sir.
There, see,
Just a little bit.
there are a couple officers that have that, and I get it. We're a melting pot here in the United States, and certainly here in Newport News, we have a lot of military influence from around, and there's a need. There's no doubt. There's a lot of refugees that are here in our country. Captain J.P. Smith is a big advocate for that. So we're working. But I will tell you, the number one population that's growing in the city of Newport News is the Latino community, and that's a community that I really wanted to make a big impact on. So, no, I appreciate that. We do partner with services and individuals that have that talent, and I would love to have. I know I have some of that already here in the department. But yeah, you're absolutely right, and I get it, and I understand.
Thomas says, thank you for your hard work, dedication to improving our city, and being open communication with us all. Love that.
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that, my friend.
Ms. Lyons welcomes you to NNPD.
Thank you.
Ms. Bannister says welcome. Came on late, love your meetings. Thank you and all your officers and more and your staff for all your hard work and love and commitment to us all.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms. Brumfield says, awesomeness, glad you met your goal.
Wow. Thank you. Yep. I'll tell you, it was number one goal to staff the 911 center this year. People put in a lot of time and dedication, but I worked those individuals very, very hard, and we made a commitment to staffing the 911 center communications 100%. We were able to do that and a few overhires, so we're exactly where I want to be with that. They did a great job.
Anna Whalen says, hi, Chief. Almost missed your session. Hope you enjoyed your trip. Happy belated birthday.
Anna, thank you very much. I got some gifts from you up on my desk that I've been sharing today. And listen, sign me up for the next church service. I'm going to be back there on Sunday. So Anna, if you're watching, sign me up. I know you got to go online and all that stuff. I have trouble turning my computer on, but if you can let them know, I'll be there on Sunday. I look forward to seeing you and the pastor there at Calvary.
Deborah says, awesome. Thank you for that. I have a deaf son, so I appreciate it.
Nope, I totally get it. Deborah, we're doing things with autism here with Project Guardian. Detective Hauser does a phenomenal job, but you're absolutely right. And it's important for us to be able to communicate, so I totally understand it. Thank you.
Ms. Hicks says, thank you all for what you do in our city.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks. I appreciate you being here tonight.
And Deborah says, have a blessed and safe evening.
Very good. So I think we hit everything. If we missed anything, I apologize. If it comes in after because of some of the glitches, we will respond to it. But I am going to go ahead and sign us off here because I don't know what's going to happen at 7 o'clock. If the screen's going to zip, right? And then people are like, well, the chief just unplugged the screen. And I know I'll get blamed for it. I know I will. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We got a lot of good things going, but we just keep striving, right? I want to thank the men and women who work in this profession that put in the time and effort. They do a great job here. I am blessed. This is a phenomenal city. We have support from our city council and our mayor, our city manager. We just had our budget meeting and some hard questions asked and laid out a direction that we want to go. We're going to spend a lot of money and effort on technology this year. We have a lot of talent. We're going to spend a lot of money on training, adding things to the academy, and not just new recruits, right? The men and women who work here. The chief included. We're mandated to do 20 hours of in-service each year. We do 40 here. We have I think we have some of the best training instructors up and down the East Coast. And look, I'll be but the best in the state of Virginia. They do phenomenal training here, and we're going to invest in that. So much so that we're going to probably add one, if not two more individuals to that training staff during this year to make sure that we can really emphasize training in this department. But I'm going to sign off here. They'll be recorded, so you can watch this if you're bored to death, right? You want to watch this later in the week or the evening. But I apologize if I didn't get to some of the questions. I appreciate everybody who chimed in tonight. It matters, right? It matters, and what we do to the officers and the men and women in this profession. What you do matters. It makes a difference in this community. And you may not see it right away, but I promise you 5-10 years down the road, 25 years when you decide to retire, right? 25 years when you decide to retire, that you'll look back and the things that you'll remember are the lives that you impacted and the people you helped along the way. So I think we shut it down there, Jamie. Thanks again. Jamie kept me on course tonight. He's like, hey, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen at 7 o'clock either. So
Make it
I want
short.
to, yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So I want to thank Ms. Franco for being here. I'm really excited at things we're going to do in the Hispanic community. I'm excited for the new recruits. Matter of fact, we're going to do the draft tomorrow. It's going to be like NFL draft day. You're going to have captains fighting over people they want out of that class because they're coming to their precincts to work and serve the citizens in those 3 precincts. So I'm looking forward to that. That's always fun, but it's going to be great. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for your comments and joining us tonight, and we'll do this again next month. Take care.